Hello everyone, Zanurify here, and today I am in Arena Commander. It's finally been released, and I've been playing a bit of Vandal Swarm single player before the multiplayer is available to me, and I have to say it is awesome. But before I go ahead and show you some of the gameplay of it, I'm just going to kind of go through the good and bad things about it, because I'm guessing if you don't have this yet and you're wondering if it's worth pledging to be able to play it, or if you just haven't downloaded it yet and you're wondering how good it is, I think it would be good to know what you're downloading. So, okay, so let's start from the beginning. So when you download the game, now most of the problems with the current build of Arena Commander have been with the launcher, and the reason being is because there have been a lot of problems with A, downloading, and B, actually getting it to run. Because there's been problems with the download servers in that sometimes near the end of the download, the 11 gigabyte download, it will sometimes say your file's corrupted. And this would be fine, but the repair tool isn't currently working really. So if you get that problem, the only real way to fix it is at the moment to re-download the game. I mean, this was day before yesterday, so they might fix that by now, but as far as bugs go with the actual client, there are hardly any. I mean, this build is very stable, not polished. It's still rough around the edges, as you can see by the flickering of the AA. But it's very stable. I mean, I've only encountered 2 bugs with the client so far. One being that sometimes my mouse will spaz out in the hanger, meaning I can't look around. But I mean, that doesn't happen that often. But I mean, it doesn't matter too much because you can still get in all the ships, and once you're flying around, it's fine. And the other being that sometimes it can kind of disconnect when you're loading, because it has to connect to the servers to see what ships you've got and everything. And sometimes it won't connect properly, but I've only encountered that bug, I think, once, maybe twice in the time I've been playing it so far. And if you're looking for any other negative things about it, they're all just annoyances really. They're not really bugs. So there's no tips or help yet, apart from showing you the controls. So there's no tutorial showing you how to fly properly, and there's no I mean, you can see the pedestal on the left here, and you can see I've got it says RSI at the bottom. That's because I'm already wearing the helmet. But basically, the first time you boot up the hangar, that the helmet will be on that pedestal, and Arena Commander won't boot up when you get into ships unless you have the helmet on. But I did not notice that pedestal after I'd been trying to figure out why it wasn't working for probably a solid 20 minutes. I didn't think to come back and look. So, I mean, it's little things like that. I mean, all it would have taken is a message to pop up saying, pick up your helmet to enable Arena Commander, but it doesn't. So, yeah, that could be a bit annoying. Now, probably the biggest kind of drawback of Arena Commander so far is the fact that in the current build, so the first public build, you cannot map your own keys. So, if you want to use, it doesn't matter if you want to use a keyboard, a controller, or a HOTAS, or a joystick, you have to use the default settings. And if you're using a keyboard or one of the more popular joysticks, it's fine because they've mapped the keys on them for. So things like the Rhino X55 and the X52 or things like that, and a few other popular ones, they've mapped the keys for because they know a lot of people have them. But if you're like me and you've got like a Cyborg Fly 5, I think it's called, then there's no way for you to map the keys yet. So, I mean, I've been quite lucky with mine that a lot of the kind of systems I need to use in my ship are kind of randomly bound on my joystick. But some of them aren't, so I sometimes have to push the keyboard in place of that. But that's enough of the bad things, onto the good things. The good things, the flying works superbly, and a lot of people have been kind of confused by it because, they think, oh, you don't move fast enough, oh, and every ship is really nimble, whatever. The 3 ships, the Aurora, the 300i, and the Hornet you can use at the moment, they're all kind of fighter class, so they're meant to be nimble. And the reason why it looks like you're moving so slow is because you're in space, and everything's much bigger than you in space. So you are actually moving very quickly, but it's just, you just have to get used to the whole change of kind of you know, flying. Because if you're used to playing any kind of flight sim games in the past, or like fighter games, or even space games, I mean, you really need to chuck or like most of that knowledge out the window. You know, chuck a cat on it, hose it down, and throw it across the fence or whatever, because you don't need it. You pretty much need a completely different kind of like approach to, you know, play this properly, and it is hard to pick up. Like, don't expect yourself to just, you know, be going in and then just instantly owning everything, because it is difficult. And I mean, although they have added more options, there's no FOV slider yet, and I don't want to sound like TB, but in this case I wish it was slightly more zoomed out. I mean, you can like zoom in your view and everything, but I think the furthest you can zoom out needs to be a bit further away. But that's enough of me talking. So everyone in Arena Commander will get 300i. You can... Why is my buggy on its side? You can see there's the military 300i, and then you might be able to just see on the right there's the F7C. So see, it's not the one I have because I've got it over there, but it's the military version. Basically everyone gets given these two to play around with. And I think I am just gonna do a leisurely stroll over here, and as you can probably tell if you're more observant, the hangar has had an overhaul. It's less shiny, it's more matte, it's more kind of realistic, because I mean it was really shiny before, and you know, if it's a hangar with lots of ships in it, chances are you're not going to have really shiny surfaces all over the place, are you? So we'll hop in to the Hornet, and they have updated this slightly. It's beautiful. So have a look. Oh, lovely. So all you have to do with the helmet on is get in, and then it will boot up the Arena Commander simulation. There we go. So this will be the multiplayer, but at the moment I've only got access to the single player, which is the drone sim. And in this you can select the two maps, Broken Moon and Dying Star, as I showed in my Captain's Log video. And then you've got Freeflight and Vandal Swarm. But just to show off kind of how the flying works, I'll do the Vandal Swarm in the next video. I'm just going to, you know, show you a bit of the flying around and whatever. And yeah, that will be pretty damn cool. So you just click launch, and then it will take you to the loading screen.
Aerospace. All systems online.
There we go. Sorry, I just had to quickly cut there to get my joystick in the right position. So if I switch with the views here, if it wants to switch, oh, bit juttery there. You can see I'm in the Hornet, and I'm currently moving it around the mouse, because if you're using the keyboard and mouse, then you can use the mouse to kind of pitch and yaw and whatever. And you can see all the little thrusters maneuvering me around. I can fire the guns. See, you can see the guns are tracking the mouse. However, the guns on the top, these ones, they track the mouse. And if you're hovering over a target that you've like selected, they will only hit it if you aim them correctly. Whereas the guns on the wings, the mini guns, if you're within a certain radius of the kind of targeting reticule, they will track. So there's no kind of mouse superiority here. So it's actually more efficient to use a joystick, so they're both facing, you know, directly at the target, which is cool. So if we go to the other views, throttle up a bit using my joystick. There we go. And we'll go up like that. Woo! Go down a bit. The sound seems to be spazzing out for some reason. I don't know why. Fire the miniguns. Okay, so here we are in the cockpit, and you can see basically all of the HUD is shown to be on your helmet, and you can toggle between. See, this is the overview on the left, and I can switch to the weapons systems, and I can see that. the power output and the shields. And you've got the lovely AI voice to tell you what's up as you're, you know, fighting or whatever. There you can see the cockpit. And down in the bottom right you can see the throttle. So if I throttle up just slightly, you can see it there. It's very sensitive throttle. So I throttle up. And then if I activate my afterburners, you'll see the boost going down. And we're going super speed. So we can... And it's a bit like when you're playing racing games. You discover very early on that it's better to be very gentle with the controls. Because if you're really like kind of harsh with them, you're just like... Ooh. Although, I have turned the sensitivity down. So, like, initially it's quite sensitive. So we got the flares.
Flare.
You got your, well, that would be the missile key, but there's nothing to lock onto because they're not dumbfire. Although you will be able to get dumbfire ones, but yeah. Got my miniguns.
You are approaching simulation boundary.
Yes. I'll throttle down to about 50%, I think. There we go. Okay, so in the middle you've got your kind of Drader style radar. You can zoom that in and out, but I can't remember the key off the top of my head. You've got glide mode, which basically allows you to do, if anyone's watched Battlestar Galactica, where the Vipers kind of glide. So it's like it turns off your inertial dampeners, and the inertial dampeners are what will stop you if you stop throttling. So it makes you behave as if there's kind of air resistance, so to speak. But if you turn off the inertial dampeners with caps lock and then stop throttling up, basically you will keep going.
Warning.
Oh.
You are approaching simulation boundary.
Yes. Yeah, and the map is pretty big. It's not ginormous. It's not like, you know, ridiculously huge, but it's I think it's way big enough just to test out dogfighting or whatever. And the damage states seem to work very well as well. And I think if we activate the after, we can have a look outside. The afterburner's going off. And if I kind of go forward and then like pull it up, you can see the trail that the engine was leaving there, and it's very kind of like, you can see that they turn very sharply, and that's good because it is a space sim. So, you know, you can move sharply. And you can see G-Safe on the right of the targeting reticle there. It's telling me that G-Safe's on. I don't know if you can turn G-Safe off at the moment, but all that basically does is make you so you can't pull so many G's that you would kill yourself. Oh yeah, don't fly into the beam. You die. But I think what I'm going to try and do now, I'm having to fly with my my left hand here, so I'm not used to flying with my left hand. We thought afterburners. I want to try and knock a bit off my ship. Oh, it's very beautiful, isn't it? It's very beautiful. Alright. I wonder if I can... Oh.
Collision.
Ah. Well, I hit something. This should be alright.
Collision. Weapons system is offline.
Okay, yeah, I think I've successfully...
You are approaching simulation boundary.
No, I'm not. Because you're in space, the loss of a wing isn't hugely integral to, you know, flying, unless you've got thrusters on it. But on this ship, the thrusters are all on the main hub of the body.
Systems overheating.
Right, I'll throttle down a bit. I'll stop actually. Okay, so now you can see I've suffered quite catastrophic damage. Usually it will break off a lot more procedurally than that, but it's because I like whacked it really hard. Usually little chunks will come off and everything, but... So now I've only got this minigun. If I go back to the cockpit view, it's probably given me all manner of readouts. Yeah, there we go. So wings gone. it's now only showing that. If I pitch down slightly, it's now only showing that I've got one of my miniguns. And I think if I go to power, everything's the same as it was. Shields have regened. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of like. Yes.
Warning. You are approaching simulation boundary.
Yeah. So I mean, that's about it. I mean, there are a lot more things you can do with like other ships in the future, but I mean, the Hornet's, you know, a very simple kind of fighter or whatever. So yeah, in the next video I'm just gonna, you know, I'll give you a taste of the actual fighting. So I'll fight some Vandal. Is my gun broken now? Oh my god, it is. I think it's like on fire or something.
Alert. Systems overheating. Weapons system is
Ah!
offline.
See, what I've done there is I've put my minigun offline, so it now will not fire because I'm suffered such catastrophic damage. It's putting too much pressure on my electrical system, and it's actually caused the minigun to kind of short out. So now I've only got my little ones, although they're not that little. But yeah, in the next video I'm going to go over some Vandal Swarm stuff. I might use the 300i instead, or might stick with this, I don't know. And that should be quite cool. I'll play on the Dying Star map so you can see the Dying Star map. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, like, favourite, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or send me a message through YouTube, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.